Everyone, I wanted to jump on today and give you a quick run through of something that I use quite frequently in my day job at Nova, working with the various different startup founders and teams, and it's Chrome extensions. And it dawned on me last week after a discussion with one of our startup founders that they might not be as familiar to everyone as what they are to me. So I kind of just wanted to have a quick run through of the top 5 ones that I use, probably day in, day out in my job at Nova, I'll give a quick explanation of how they've helped me kind of do some marketing for the business and help them grow. So the first one I wanted to talk through was one called Hunter. So bear with me while I just get a website up. So for example, you might be on a website and for example, I use this most with B2B startups I work on. And why I like it and what I use it for is to gain contact details for people who I might want to engage with at some point. So what I would do, for example, in this use case, LWC, we might be targeting drinks wholesalers in the UK for whatever reason. We've been looking at that recently with one of our businesses. And I know that they're a big player in our industry, and actually they're the ideal customer for our product that we're building. So I would navigate to the website, and then what I can do is I go to there and I switch on this extension, and what it does, it crawls the website and it comes up with all the email addresses that they can pull. And what it does that's quite clever is it gives you a breakdown of their job function and also gives it a confidence score. So for example, you can see 94% confidence score. So that's really confident that is a correct email address of a current employee at that business. So you can scroll down and see all of them there. Now, I would stress, I never use this to just kind of go around and build a cold list. I would never just go around all of our target customers' websites, build a cold list and then blanket email them all. What I use this for is actually opening the door and getting that first stage of a relationship build with them. So for example, now I know that Sharon Magnus works there, I could then put that into LinkedIn and connect with her on LinkedIn and start engaging with their content and then open a conversation off the back of that. Equally, you can use this to kind of reverse engineer things. So if I know a person's name at that business who is probably the best person that I need to be speaking to, I can go on here and I can actually see with some good confidence how they format their email addresses. So it's kind of first name dot last name at web address. So like I say, I would always start with like telephone call, try and meet them in person, etc. But if you're getting nowhere with that and you know that there's a person that you've been trying to get hold of, but they're just not engaging, you can use this tool to kind of guess if you know the name, guess how their email would be forwarded, and then send them a message and hope for some connection through that. So yeah, that's Hunter. There's a bit more to it, but this is with the free version, you get 50 requests a month, you see, and that usually suffices me. I've never needed to go beyond that, but give it a go and see how it works for you. So then the next one that I wanted to talk through is actually Loon, which is what I'm using right now to record this. So what I done earlier was just to record one to just show you how this works. So essentially it's a screen recorder, and the kind of use case that I have for it is really quick sharing things and ideas with teams. So for example, what I'm showing you here is you might be on a website landing page your own or someone else's, you might see something that you like or actually something that you want to change. Now, what I've found recently, especially with working at home, just since we've been on lockdown, is that and we're not in earshot of each other and able to have face-to-face communication. But my email's gone through the roof, and also my direct messaging has gone up tenfold. So I like this because it's none of those, and actually it reduces the room for misinterpretation with those forms of communication. Because in that kind of use case that was just on the screen there, If I'm on a website on the Nova site and I go, right, Joe, what I want to send something over to the web team because actually I want to change this text here and I want to either implement a new button animation on that, etc., etc. Now there's hundreds of buttons and there's hundreds of lines of text on this landing page. So actually, rather than sending an email, screenshotting everything, annotating everything, I can just jump on here and do a really quick screen recording, show it how it works. And once that's done, you can then copy the link and send it to them. You can do some quick edits on it there. The other thing that I really like about it is that you can actually download it as well and then use it off this page. So, for example, something I've been encouraging our startup founders to do is to just record a product walkthrough video on using this software. So give people a quick demo of your product on this, and what's better than having the founder of the business actually doing that? Then you can throw it on your social media channels, throw it on your website landing page, and it's just a really good, quick and easy bit of content that you can do. So that's Loon. So again, I'd encourage you all to have a look at that. The next one is one called Ubersuggest. Now this is a Neil Patel tool. So any of the marketers will know him. He's massive on sort of search engine marketing. But he's just brought out last month a Chrome extension. I've been using it. It's really good. I find it really useful. So the way that it works, if you go to a search engine and put in a term that is relevant to your industry that you're probably considering either that you want to rank for, so you want to have a good SEO performance on, or actually you're considering using that term in a paid search campaign. So, for example, for Nova, something like startup in investment. If you want to look at. Okay, so what Ubersuggest does here is it gives you right on the search engine results page a guide on the monthly searches for that term that you searched for, and also the cost per click. So that's kind of, if you're going to be running a search campaign, this is the average on what it's going to cost you to get one click for that term. Another cool thing that it does is down the sidebar here is it gives you a look at other related keywords and what the search volumes are and cost per clicks are for those as well. Again, the other thing it does that's really cool is it shows you from an SEO perspective. The average page that ranks in the top 10 has 1,312 backlinks and a domain score of 80. So that's telling me that that's super competitive. You're going to have a lot of backlinks and a really good domain quality to rank on the first page of the search engine results. Now you can get more data by clicking on this view all here, and it actually gives you more detail on, so you can actually see how seasonal a search term is. So what you can see here with this particular search term is that during this time of the year, coming up to September, that massively fluctuates between June and September. It looks like there's like about 2/3 of the search volume for the year happening during that period. And also the vast majority of it is on mobile devices. Other cool things, you can see the age range of the people who are searching for that. And actually what's really interesting that you can see here is that 0 people are clicking on the SEO results. So paid search is absolutely vital for that term. So one thing to mention on this as well is that I was using a different tool before I switched onto this one called Keyword Safe, and I noticed some disparity between the monthly searches on that one and this one. So I reached out to the guys at Ubersuggest, and they came back to me and confirmed that the UK is correct. I suspected maybe it was pulling US data, which is why it displayed in dollars, but they assured me that actually it pulls it from where you're searching from. So this is all UK based data, and that they are actually working on a currency drop down. So that will, hopefully in the next couple of months, if you update the extension, you'll see that up in your own local currency too. But like I say, I like it because it gives me a really quick benchmarking gauge on search volumes and cost per click for any paid search campaigns that I'm using. That's my main use of it, really. And I also think it's cool because if you're sat in a meeting with someone and they're discussing that, you can do it really, straight away then and get the results and feedback straight away. And people think you're some sort of internet genius if they don't know what you're doing. So next one I wanted to talk through is one that I use for social media planning and scheduling quite a lot. And again, I like it because it saves me a bit of time. It's something that I can do natively with a page that I'm looking at. It's called Buffer. And essentially what it allows you to do, for example, if you're on a website and you see a nice piece of content and you think, that's really good for my audience, or I've got a really good comment that I want to add to that and share it on my social profile. So you can do just that. So the way that it works is you kind of just open up the extension. And what you can see there is it allows you to then share that directly and edit your post directly from that page. So you don't have to go onto then LinkedIn or open up on your phone and try and find the right article and stuff like that. You can do it directly there. You can add as many of your different accounts as you can. So I've got this link to my personal one. So I kind of, for business purposes, just use Twitter and LinkedIn. So it then gives me the functionality to edit the caption, say what I want about it within the word count. I can edit the image and then add emojis if I want. And then I can either share it now on the page or schedule it. So I find that really useful as well. So for example, you might have a good bit of content, but you've got a lot going out today anyway. So you want to schedule that to go out in a couple of days' time or the next day. So you can schedule that for a future days. The only thing I would say on that is make sure that you check your schedule on what you've got going out when, and actually just keep an eye on notifications on your phone so that you can respond and engage to any comments and feedback that you get to your posts. So fifth and final one I wanted to talk through, let me just get rid of that. It was one called Todoist. Now, I've kind of always been quite skeptical about kind of productivity apps and stuff like that, and I've kind of just never used them or needed to use them. But what I found was, since we've been in lockdown, I was finding that I think it's probably to do with the shift between more people sending messages to me and using kind of Hangouts and Slack and email as the preferred communications channel, that I was just getting massively distracted and bogged down with stuff and really struggling to focus. So I thought, I'll give it a go, and someone actually recommended this one to me. It's called it's called Focus To Do, and as you can see, I'll just open it up here. I mean, it's super simple, and essentially what it is, it's a time, and it's based on a technique called the Pomodoro technique, I think it's called. The Pomodoro technique. And what that learning is based on is that we operate best when we focused in 25 minutes. Sorry about that. I just realised that because it's an extension, when you click it, it shows in the pop, so you couldn't actually see what I was talking about there. But essentially, it's this tool here. And as you can see, it's talking about for managing task reminders list. And essentially what it is, it's a timer that regulates you to work in 25-minute super intense focus periods with a 5-minute break at the end. You can see I'm kind of 4 minutes in to this one while I've just been messing about with it there. But I'd say definitely give it a go. I was skeptical at first, and it's helped me massively focus on tasks. And kind of one thing that I'd encourage when using it, you can edit the timings as well. That's one thing to note. So kind of if you feel like 25-minute focus to start with is too long for you, that's one of the things that I struggled with when I started using it, that I didn't realize how long it is and how difficult it was for me to actually focus on one thing solely for 25 minutes. But I've built back up to that now. After like a week, I was cool with it. And I find it really useful. Now, the other thing to note is that you should actually remove any other distractions that you've got around you and actually make sure your phone is out of reach, switch off your email, switch off any notifications. And for example, if you've got a task like that you can log within that, like website project or, website copywriting or something like that. And you can set the number of Pomodoros that that's going to be. So for example, if your estimate is going to be 2 hours, you could set 4 Pomodoros, and that will do 4 sessions of 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off. And I can say from my experience, it's been a bit of a game changer for me. I've really noticed the benefit of my productivity on the days when I'm using it. And I kind of use it on a project basis rather than split my whole day and use it for the whole day. So for example, if I'm working on a new website and I know it's going to be like, I need to do the copyright, for example, in 2 hours, I will use it for tasks like that and make sure that I get those done without being distracted and without things dragging on for days and days when they don't need to be. Yeah, so that's it really. So that's the 5 I wanted to cover today. Obviously, there's loads of them out there. So kind of, if this is new to you, do go on and have an explore about, and let me know any others that you use or that you come across that you find useful, and I'll check them out myself. Thanks very much for your time. Appreciate it.